I found out I was involved with the Department of Children and Family because I got a phone call from a location that was not my district. DCF told me in the phone call that I was neglecting and abusing my kid, and I asked him to elaborate, and he told me that I was abusing my child with a belt at his birthday party and that I had no car seat for my son. Honestly, I was scared at first. I was like, why would they do this? What are they going to do? I literally didn't sleep. I couldn't eat because it just even crossed in my mind that they want to come open an investigation or even speak to me about my son made me like so nervous. Like, why would you guys want to do that? Like, I was very, very, like, how do you explain it? I was just more like, I got anxious. I got very, like, depressed about it. Honestly, my mom even got depressed. I was so confused. So, and I also didn't know what my rights were with them and what I could say, what I couldn't say, or how to do anything because I never really dealt with DCF in a phone call, somebody calling, making an accusation like this. And then Googling it and finding out that they say, I don't know if it's true or not because it's Google reviews that DCF just likes taking your kids. So that's what made me more like, what? They just want to come take my kid? Hold on, what? Without having real proof, you're going to come take my kid? Hold on. I got more confused of what it was, and I was like nervous. So I didn't know what it was. We just knew that they're not really here to help us unless I didn't really know what they were until I got an attorney and got to speak to him, and he let me know a little more of what they do and what it is. But I did call one other attorney, and he said he'd get back to me and never got back to me, honestly. And I also called one other person. They just asked when did I need them for, and they really didn't elaborate or ask me any more questions or care about my case. I noticed that I seen lawyers online, and I started doing my investigation of who I should speak to, and I seen Attorney Seaver on Google with very good reviews, so I gave him a phone call, and when I called him, he gave me really good advice when I had just told him what's going on, and I was nervous about everything. What should I do? Attorney Seaver, when I called, his assistant actually had put him on the phone, and he actually spoke to me and gave me advice on what I should do. And no other lawyer was even trying to get on the phone to speak to me or give me advice at all. And I liked the advice, and he made me feel so comfortable where I was like, honestly, I need him to be there with me because he knows more than what I know, and he's making me feel very comfortable. And after that, that's what really made me feel better was actually giving Attorney Seaver the phone call. Attorney Seaver made it clear to me that we have rights and our kids have rights, and there's people that don't understand that sometimes it's good to just hire a lawyer to be safe in knowing that your kid has rights and they need to be protected. And that was one of my major things was protecting my son's rights, and Attorney Seaver made sure my son's rights were protected at all times. Attorney Seaver made me feel more comfortable with the whole situation compared to when I got the phone call from DCF, because when I Googled DCF, they have very bad reviews on they just want to take your kids, DCF just wants to take your kids, DCF this, DCF that. And when I hired Attorney Seaver, Attorney Seaver made me feel comfortable and like I could breathe again. And I knew that Attorney Seaver was going to do everything in his power to make sure that if what is being said is true, that he is going to help to make sure everything is done the right way. So Attorney Seaver gave me a plan, and it was easy to follow, and he made our life easier with having the plan. That made a huge difference and just easier for everyone with this case. It was blown out quick because I did what I had to do to give him so he could give it to her. And honestly, I didn't really have to speak to her other than the one phone call. Attorney Seaver grabbed all the information. Attorney Seaver did make everything easier when it came to speaking to them, because when DCF first called me, I felt like they were trying to intimidate me and they were a little mean on the phone. But when I had hired Attorney Seaver, they spoke to me different. I felt like they respected me more and they understood what I was saying to them was the truth. Because when I first spoke to them, to PCF, they didn't care, as I felt like they didn't care in what I had to say. But when I hired Attorney Seaver, they listened and they spoke to me in a nicer way, in knowing that I care a lot for my son and I will do whatever I have to make sure my son is safe and protected. So Attorney Seaver also, as we were speaking to DCF, he made sure that as a child was being questioned in a way that is respectfully questioned for a toddler. Attorney Seaver made my son feel very comfortable. He actually really liked him, and my son opened up to the point that when we went to the office, he threw himself on the floor thinking he was comfortable jumping on his iPad. He did not feel uncomfortable one bit. So Attorney Seaver told my son to tell the truth and trust the lady talking to him, and my son told the truth and everything went well. He told the story how he knows it and how he feels, and he told DCF everything that they needed to know, and it was great after that. My son did very good when the DCF lady was questioning my son. If something was not asked correctly, Attorney Seaver helped with my son being comfortable with questions being asked. So my son responded in a positive way due to the energy he had around him. The DCF lady was very nice. Thanks to Attorney Seaver being there also, he made everyone feel comfortable, and everybody was speaking to my son in such a good way that he responded and felt so comfortable after I told him, you can speak, you can talk to them. They just want to talk to you, because he knows he's not supposed to talk to strangers, but he understood it's okay to talk to them. And my son spoke freely about whatever he wanted to and told them everything he wanted to tell them on his own behalf of being happy and just being approached in a positive way. Even if it's a false allegation, it's better to be safe than sorry, and I would spend the money all over again to hire Attorney Seaver, because he made everything easier, comfortable, and I just felt safer. And it was so worth it, because I knew that the allegations were not real. So I knew that if everything was done the proper way, everything was going to be okay. And that's why I hired Attorney Seaver, and I would hire him again if anything was ever to happen, because he made everything easier and done correctly. So Attorney Seaver went above and beyond to meet my expectations. He told me what I needed, and when I got it done, everything was just easy after that. I felt safe. My son, I know, was going to be safe, and that was like my biggest thing, was making sure we were safe. And he made sure we were safe, and he was there when they spoke to us. He made sure we did not feel uncomfortable, and everyone felt comfortable. And my kids' rights were protected. There was nothing violated on my son's behalf, thanks to Attorney Seaver. I'm happy. I'm so happy that they're out my life, and thank you to Attorney Seaver that he made this so, like, I can't even explain anything, because I'm just so happy that I can't even think about how horrible I felt when I got the phone call. That I'm just so happy that he gave me the news and told me that it's closed, and it just felt great to know that my kid's safe, I'm safe, and he's going to be with me forever. If a neighbor, a friend, or a family member called me and told me that they had a DCF phone call, I would tell them to call Attorney Seaver, because he's amazing. He knows how to help you, and he has the best advice and a great plan to make everybody's life easier, the DCF ladies or the victim. He makes everyone feel comfortable, and he has a plan to get everything done and close quickly, where if you're telling the truth, everything's okay. Everything's going to be okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, I rated Attorney Seaver a 100, honestly, beyond a 10, because he really made it real easy for me.